My name is KNAPTON. I'm 35 and I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I'm a manufacturing engineer at Beta Technologies up at the airport, and I'm helping to build the world's first series of vertical takeoff electric airplanes. I had an opportunity, John and I have known each other for a few years, John Wilkins, and we were talking one day about what I've been up to, and it was a new gig. It was about 4 years ago. I just started this small little startup company called Beta Technologies. We only had about 40 people back then. I think we're up to 600 or 700 now. So things were small, but we were getting excited about electric aviation and anything EV. And I was kind of building the first generation of the battery packs for there, and we got talking about bikes. And he mentioned that Harley was coming out with an electric motorcycle, and I couldn't believe it because, Harley-Davidson, everybody knows Harleys, right? They're big, they're loud. So I was kind of curious about it. And when the first one came out, the very first one came to Vermont, John brought one over to my work and he dropped it off for 2 months, which was super generous. So I had a whole pile of waivers, and I had every engineer come up and sign a waiver, and they got to poke at it and tinker on it and go take it for a rip. So we got a lot of people really excited about the technology. It's really interesting, when I heard about the EV bikes, I was super excited because of my passion for EVs, but also as a traditional Harley guy, I didn't want to like it. I really wanted to dislike it because this is like, if you see any guy, if I ride up to someone on a light on a hog and I'm on this thing, I'll get the nod. If I pull up on that thing, I just get a head shake. So like, I didn't want to like it, but it's incredible. I mean, it's like being in an old Cadillac that's comfortable and cruises awesome versus putting a saddle on a cheetah and trying to hold on. I mean, this thing is just incredible. I grew up on a small farm in northern New Hampshire, and I can remember being really young and out in the garden with my mom, and she just couldn't really keep a handle on me because I was a bit of a wild child. So I kept tearing away from her and climbing trees in my diapers and just I wouldn't behave. So I had to become a leash child at first. She had to sew me a little harness and tie me to a big beautiful tree in the front yard so I wouldn't run away, but my dad wasn't having that. So he came and grabbed me and he brought me into the garage with him. And I remember hearing him in there once in a while, like, hear some curse words coming out, some tools banging around. So he brought me in there and sat me on this big wheel well of an old pickup that he had, a farm truck. And I just remember watching him, and I started to get really interested in what he was doing, turning wrenches and pulling hoses, and it just was really fascinating to me. And then, then I started to get interested in all these two-wheeled vehicles Dad had in the other garage. And I used to watch him and his buddies roll the bikes in on a Saturday and listen to music and turn wrenches, and I started building my first engine, I think, when I was 8, and my first four-wheeler when I was 12. And I just kind of got into bikes from there. They're just really, there's something really special about a machine that you can take apart and put together yourself, and you know every in and out of it and how it works and what it's made of. And I mean, this bike here is a 10-year project. I've been building it for a long time. It's still not quite done yet. But I think the only thing left on a Harley is the frame. Everything else is an add-on. We still got the original land the farm was on. It's a couple hundred acres on a mountainside, and it's a really cool property. And yeah, he's been collecting bikes for years. We got a '66 Electroglide that I helped him rebuild. That was a really fun project. That's fully restored now. We've got a Ural with a sidecar on it that my dog used to love to ride in the sidecar. I put goggles on him and a little helmet, and he loved to rip around that thing. We got just a lot of bikes, and it's just it's a passion. I'd call it an addiction. If it is, it's a better one than most. Mom and Dad split when I was really young, and my dad always wanted me to ride bikes, And I didn't know it at the time, but I think I did too. And so the day I turned 16, I was out shopping with my mom, and we came back to the house, and this motorcycle was sitting in the driveway, and my mom had a
I put a big red bow on it, you know? I left it in the driveway and took off. And when and by the time I drove home, which is about 5 minutes from here, the phone was already ringing.
She was not happy. Sorry, Mom.
And I went in there, picked up the phone, and it was, and if you think that he's going to be driving a motorcycle, get your ass back here. You can get this bike back out of my driveway and take it back home. I said, put Morgan on the phone.
Right now we are at my father's mountain compound up here in Littleton, New Hampshire. We've got the dome house and the dome garage, and this is where we keep some of our motorcycles and work on some of our motorcycles. There's another garage in central New Hampshire near Bike Week where there's a few more stashed, but we're getting the shop cleaned up and going to convert it over to do a little more work up here because, you know, when they start to fill it up, you got to start fixing them so they can ride.
Tell about Morgan. Oh, gee whiz. I don't know if this is allowed on television. Morgan's my motorcycle son, you know. Now he's my airplane son, too. But no, Morgan's the motorcycle boy. That's for sure. Yeah, he's sucked right into it hard.
I got the aviation bug from him. I remember watching him fly that friggin' homemade thing up in the air. I mean, he used to jump off Mount Washington in a hang glider he made himself. Yep. He got stuck in the air for like 20 hours one time, fell asleep in a hang glider, and they lost him. They didn't know where he was. He used to hang glide off any mountain he could find.
We did that for years.
Yeah, so I got the aviation bug from him, and now I'm working on flying planes too, so it's cool.
Yeah, soon you'll have, this one is close to your airplane, I think.
Pretty darn.
When the next thing they make after this one will have wings, you know.
We could just put some on this.
Boy, you certainly could. It feels like you're on wings when you're riding this thing.
Yeah, it really does.
This is a crazy bike. You know, we all make fun of electric motorcycles before we drove one, you know what I mean? I made fun of microwave ovens. I made fun of, you know, cassette tape players. I made fun of dishwashers. I didn't want any of those things. I made fun of computers, cell phones. You know, when they first came out, I was the last one to, but now with motorcycles, it's different. I don't hesitate, you know.
The first day that I brought it down to Bike Week this year and pulled in the driveway, and Dad and about 12 of our biker buddies from all over the country are getting ready for a ride. And everyone's getting on their big old baggers, and I pull up in this and I get a few looks, couple smiles, everyone's checking it out, wondering about it.
Yeah, they're all snickering.
Yeah, they're all snickering. He doesn't even know, you know. He's like, yeah, okay, it's fine, whatever, it looks cool. And I get him on there, and he sits on the thing, and he's holding it, and it's not making any noise, and he looks at me and goes, I feel like a girl. And I laugh, and I say, yeah, you just wait.
Yeah.
And then the second we go about 2 miles down the road to the first stop sign, I pull up next to him, because he obviously beat me, and he's just grinning like an idiot. And he's like, this thing is incredible. I'm like, I told you.
The driveway is amazing.
I told you.
It is amazing. It's like it's like riding a supersonic sewing machine, you know.
That's a good way to put it. What would you say to somebody that doesn't think it's a real bike?
That's not a Harley, man.
Ride it.
Ride it.
Just plain ride it. No, you have to ride it first.
That's it?
No, you have to ride it.
Just ride it.
Ride it, and then talk about it. You know what I mean?
We love to ride together, and we'd love to do some of that today. We'd love to get out on the road. It's a beautiful day. We should do some miles. Yeah, let's ride something.
Yeah, we should take something out and ride something.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's go.
Cool. Oh my God, he's really gonna wear this? That crazy.